opportunities will be created to enable students and their families to capture their graduation moment. These events will also be live streams for those who are unable to join in person, and recording will be made available. Consideration with the